Supergirl was fun, but forgettable. Kinda. The film felt like, to me, two chords rubbing against each other but never connecting. And I hate that, because I wanted to love it. You see, contrary to popular opinion, I'm not gonna call it a masterpiece, but I actually enjoyed James Gunn's Superman last year. You see, I'm a superhero fan, right? I'm a fan of the character, so I will always appreciate seeing them on the big screen and any effort that is put into that. You see, back in 2008, when Iron Man first came out, that kind of set the tone for superhero movies, right? That's when, the obsession of superhero movies was started. But my point is, since then, we've had tons of superhero movies that we've consumed, right? So I believe that in the beginning, when it was unexplored, when it was fresh, superhero movies were enchanting. But now it's much harder to deliver on a superhero movie than it was back then. But I'm not at all on this video about to go easy on this movie. That's not why I'm here. I'm gonna tell you exactly where I think it fell short in 3 places. The script of Supergirl was interesting, to say the least, but before I start crapping all over it, I'm gonna tell you what I like about it. I've said this before, I do not like nice people, because being nice is just a performance. Being good is attached to your morals and your character. It operates outside of the big decisions, the actions that are out in front. It's more of what people don't see. So I loved that that was consistent throughout the script, throughout the film. It started with Kara's parents telling her that, and then it went from Ruthie affirming that, she is a good person. She's not always nice, but she's good. I also liked in the script, growing up too young is a thing, and this is how it looks. This is the type of person it creates, right? I'm familiar with growing up too young, right? Never mind, not gonna go there, too dark. But yeah, growing up too fast does change a person, and you can see the difference between Clark and Kara, and she sees the truth, except that truth that she speaks of is built upon the trauma. So she's not exactly seeing everything how it is. She's more putting her walls up to protect herself from all the trauma she's endured during her childhood. And then finally, not having a place that feels like home. I resonate with this a lot. After leaving home 7 years ago, I couldn't go back. For the first 6 or 7 years of my adulthood, no place I lived, and I lived at a handful of places, felt like home until I moved into here. And in the script, there was a constant battle of Kara not letting go of Krypton, right? Even though she had found her cousin and he had made Earth a home for both of them, she couldn't accept it. And me personally, I understand exactly what that feels like. So in those 3 ways, I really did resonate with Kara, but as an idea, more of a person, she didn't feel like a person you should care about by the end of the film, and these are my problems with the script. We got a few flashbacks of what happened with Kara on Krypton, and it was too brief, okay? It was so fast, I didn't really feel like I had a chance to really connect with Kara. When Kara cried in this film, when she was angry, I didn't feel along with her, and I feel like that was because of how brief those flashbacks were. We didn't really get enough of her story. Imagine being dropped in Iron Man 3 with a few flashbacks from Iron Man 1 and 2. That's kind of what it felt like. It would feel incomplete, right? We would miss all of that character arc from Tony, and we wouldn't feel as connected to him as we do now, right? And I'm not saying that the entire film should have been an origin story of Kara, but it would have helped to see a little bit more character arc back then instead of right now. You know what I'm saying? The second thing I noticed about the script was they were constantly nerfing her. Every encounter, she was getting nerfed, and it was pissing me off. Like I said in the beginning of this video, I think all these years of superhero movies has made it hard to deliver on superhero movies, especially overpowered superheroes like kryptonians. And I get it, with having an overpowered character like that, I'm assuming it would be quite difficult to, introduce situations where they could, have struggle. But the stakes were coming and going so flippantly, I stopped caring at a certain point. When she got poisoned with the green sun, I was like, oh, that's rough. But I was like, oh, she'll be okay. There was no stakes for me by that time of the movie. And last but certainly not least, I think the battle of Kara becoming that hero was left open. It never closed. I didn't feel like it was complete by the end of the film. I really didn't. She does a lot of back and forth throughout the film with Ruthie about not being bad and not seeking revenge and stuff like that. And then she seeks revenge at the end for Krypto. I don't know. The moment when she put on the suit and now she's Supergirl officially, it just didn't feel earned, from her perspective. I feel like it just kind of happened at the end, you know? The action of her putting on the suit and, you know, being Supergirl and going home, and Earth is home now. Like, all the actions happened, but I feel like the loop wasn't officially closed inside of the script. From what was said and what was shown, I just don't feel like it was complete. A lot of the reviews I've seen mentioned that, you know, a dog being hurt and that being the motivation of the main character is getting old. Now, let me tell you something. I'm not going to take... Let's talk about the actors. We have Millie Alcock as Supergirl, David Cornsweet as Superman, Eve Riley as Ruthie, Matthias Schoenarts, and I don't know if I pronounced his name right, as Krim, and we got Jason Momoa as Lobo, goated. Now, here's my problem with literally almost all the cast. Most of the cast is forgettable. Krim was such a horrible, forgettable villain. It's not even funny, even though I just laughed. You know, I laugh when I'm nervous. There's nothing impressive. There's nothing to understand. There's nothing to resonate with. He's like your average run-of-the-mill bad guy. He's just stronger than the other bad guys. I didn't see him being a big deal in this film, you know? Even his death was like insignificant. Yes, he was evil. He was killing people. He was enslaving girls to populate his new planet or whatever. That's very diabolical stuff, but there was no reasoning behind it. There was no philosophy. It was just outright bad guy stuff. You know, you can kind of listen to Thanos talk for a minute and be like, oh, this guy has a point. Ruthie's character for me was also forgettable. It was just a, you know, cliche little girl seeking revenge. I don't know. They made it so cliche that it was almost comical, and then they leaned into the fact that it was comical. She would introduce herself as the daughter of her family name. Kara makes jokes out of it. Everyone's not listening to her. I don't know if a person would act like that, you know? But a redeeming quality about Ruthie was that she was very good for Kara. So I appreciate that about her character. Now, Lobo is a different story. We're all gonna remember Lobo. Jason Momoa plays this immortal warrior, and it's like, I don't know, Jason Momoa is just goated, man. He was one of the most funny and unhinged characters, and I feel like we definitely got more character development out of him than we did Krim. At least we know this dude kills for money and not for sport. Now, come on, a guy has to have morals. I've seen a lot of people say that, you know, he saved the movie or something. I wouldn't go that far to say that, but he definitely added a significant presence about the movie. So like half of the cast wasn't really well written, but I mean, we have one final problem we can probably discuss that is more important than that. And I'll just put it like this. If there was one or two more Supergirl movies before this one, and then you drop this one, would have been a banger. I think this Supergirl movie is a great second or third film. People are calling the movie bad. I don't think it's bad. I think the placement is wrong. Because of the tiny problems in the script, how the characters are written, I don't think this film built enough intrigue and emotional connection to the character as it should have. Not for a first breaking out story. If I had to rate this film, and I couldn't pick 7, it would go to 6 instead of 8. Like I said, I enjoyed James Gunn's Superman last year, and there was something about seeing Kara and Superman together on screen. Like, I don't know, I'm excited to see what comes next. I do think there's something there. Just gotta give it a chance. What did you think about Supergirl? Let me know in the comments. Do you agree with any of my takes? Do you disagree with it? Let's talk about the film. Thank you for spending some time with me. If you did enjoy this video, let me know by leaving a like, and comment down below any TV shows or films, anime or live action, that you want me to react to. I do reactions on this page as well. I love stories of all kinds, good ones, bad ones. It's good to analyze stories to see how we can tell better ones. And recently, I don't know, I've just learned to appreciate art differently. A lot of people giving a lot of flack to this film, both on the directors, the producers, and I mean, the one I don't like the most, the actual actor, the lead actor, Millie Alcock, you know, calling her names, making memes about her. I'm not going to give any of those things any more power than they've already had by sharing or putting anything up on the screen. But I don't agree with that type of critique, if you will. People will hide behind the fact that they're just sharing their opinion when they say horrible things like that. And I feel like that's wrong. I think we should be better people to one another. So, but I'm not gonna rant about that. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next video, hopefully.